Hey everyone, my name is Athanasios Bonas. I have two academic publications on the topic of ancient Hellenic Pankration, and I'm here to analyze and expose Pankration fraudsters while dispelling misinformation in videos suggested via YouTube. If you're new, you need some backstory. There's a thing called quote-unquote modern Pankration, which in its entirety is a sham. Long story short, back in the 70s, karate was really popular. Some boomers in Greece practicing Okinawan karate learned that such a thing as Pankration existed. Was it from Jim Arvanidis, another fraud? Was it from Polyakov's book? Who knows? So these karatekas took it upon themselves to create an authentic Greek version of Pankration and proclaim themselves as masters of the art without actually studying or learning the sport, but rather by plagiarizing karate culture and the rules of competition, just adding some grappling. They then created various organizations, ultimately leading to the WPAF, the World Pankration Athlema Federation, declaring themselves as a worldwide authority on Pankration in 1996. The Greek government was convinced and started funding them yearly, even providing state-backed authentication for their trainers. But the WPAF embezzled these public funds and offered no opportunities for promoting Pankration in media or grants for studying the art, which had not been researched academically at all in terms of its actual usage and techniques. Needless to say, they wasted countless opportunities. They were approached by the History Channel, the BBC, and even the Olympic Committee. And they wasted them by showing what anyone with eyes would understand is a plagiarized version of karate, unbacked by any academic studies, wearing tacky costumes, and making inane nationalistic claims. Now let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's begin with the first video. Armak Pankration Spartan Academy. Okay, well, Sparta left no record whatsoever on Pankration, so if anyone tells you they study, practice, or know Spartan anything, ask them what the weather is like in Fantasyland. Oh god, it's on the news.
It's an ancient Greek martial art once used on the battlefield and at the Olympics. Well, today, a slightly more toned-down version is still being practiced.
One of Canada's foremost Spartan Pankration instructors is
Spartan Pankration instructors. What does that even mean?
Canada's foremost Spartan Pankration instructors is Aris Makris. He performs at promotional events for the 300 DVD.
Okay, listen, Diaspora. I appreciate you feel a connection to Greece and its culture. But this, and some other things you make, is neither paying respect nor homage to it. This is insulting. What you're doing is making things up and spreading lies to these children in the background and to the rest of the people watching this on their local news. This is not Spartan Pankration, nor is it Pankration at all. Weapon fighting was an entirely different sport. It was called oplomachitiki, and though it was practiced, the rules differed, mostly unclear, but it was not an event at any Pan-Hellenic games.
And he knows his stuff.
Doubts.
Spartans would live up to the word pankration.
The Spartans would what?
Even in their training, there would be eye gouging, there would be biting.
There would be eye gouging and biting in their training. Hence why every single Spartan is blind by adulthood. I mean, seriously, has he thought about this for more than 10 seconds?
Whatever reflected, whatever would be done on the battlefield would reflect in training.
In the battlefield, you fight to kill and stay alive. In sport, you fight for competition. Training for the battlefield by gouging each other seems a tad inefficient.
Next on Museum Secrets, a lost and ancient martial art. And the ancient Greeks invented the sport of wrestling.
I don't know about that. Invented as in made their own version, sure, but if we were to get into that argument of which civilization invented it first, an overall pointless conversation to be had if you ask me.
Wrestlers were the stars of the first Olympic Games.
The first Olympic Games did not have wrestling.
Where elite paratroopers prepare for hand-to-hand combat under the watchful eye of Aris Makris. Aris hails from Montreal, Canada, the son of Greek immigrants.
So he's second-generation Greek.
As a boy, he became obsessed with karate, but then he stumbled upon a martial art that had a Greek name, Pankration.
It's Pankration. If you want to say it with an accent, you can say Pankration. And yes, you do have the right to call it pankration, the same way you have the right to call this a tortilla or this a jalapeno.
That's what sparked my interest as a young boy, as a young Greek boy, as a young Greek Spartan boy.
You're Canadian, dude. Did you grow up in Sparta? No, so you're not Spartan. Simple as. Now, if you want to say you are ethnically Spartan, the surname Makris is not Spartan either. What's an authentic Pankration curriculum? Handle and get out of any violent confrontation? That's an unrealistic claim. And the next one is even worse. Closest form of combat used by the Spartans, Alexander the Great, and Rome. As I've already stated, we know nothing of how Spartans fought in Pankration. In fact, I could easily argue even the ancient Greeks of the same time period didn't know what Spartan Pankration looked like. Spartans were not allowed to compete in Pankration in Pan-Hellenic events by their own law. No, it wasn't because they were too brutal and they were banned and other such nonsense. Lycurgus made it law for them not to compete because he didn't want a Spartan to show submission to a fighter of another city-state, or because he didn't want them to show how they fought in general. Roman Pankration was also different from Hellenistic and prior Pankration, so this statement is all sorts of wrong. His stance and techniques display none of the elements that are uniquely Pankration. In fact, even in terms of just regular combat sports fundamentals, they are lacking. Oh boy, they gave him a weapon. Bro, what are you doing? You think Spartans twirled their weapons around their neck and under their arms and in their armpits? He's the master instructor of his own academy, with the rank of Delta Taxis. I mean, I know I'm going hard on this guy, alright? But this arrogance is hubris, and it deserves to be criticized accordingly. Alright, enough. Next, and this is some sort of Pankration competition. Let's see what we got. Well, glad to see they're wearing the Pankration Halloween costumes. It is October. But why is the umpire holding two flags? The ancient referees had a rod called the ravlos, and if you want to keep it authentic, hold that. If not, just omit it. He looks like he's gonna land a plane or something. No strikes to the head allowed, so why are they wearing headgear? Which, yeah, is very authentically Pankration. Referee taking off the useless headgear, wonderful. And he lifts them up for some reason. Lots of yelling taking place in the background, but this isn't Italy, so that might just be how they speak. Now they have to take a little break to readjust, just like they did in ancient times. I like how he's lifting the chin while striking, definitely a useful thing to teach yourself. Listen, Italy, Pankration is not just Greek cultural heritage, it is also Italian. I can argue it even goes beyond that, because it was also practiced in Egypt and even in Afghanistan. Of course, good luck spreading the word of Pankration in Afghanistan, but that's another story. Pankration was practiced in the Roman era Olympics for centuries. There is ancient Roman art depicting the sport as well. Help me get the word out about how it was actually practiced. Study and publish articles on how the sport was carried out during the Roman era. Let's not let this fraudulent practice take prominence. But yeah, alright, enough of this. Let's see what we got next. This one is called Pankration techniques. Well, it should have been called Maga techniques. Next. Okay, this video is just called Pankration in Greek. And I think I'm gonna throw up. Why are they fighting with sticks? Oh, okay, it's like a karate demonstration. No, well, it's not like a karate demonstration, it is a karate demonstration. What am I watching? This random lady is throwing a karate punch, and this mustache that grew a human is showing them what? That if someone throws a silly strike that you know is coming at you, you can easily sidestep it? This demonstration is at the Greek National Air Force, and this nonsense is what they show them. So many opportunities wasted. Now this one is Pankration mix. Yeah, 648 BS indeed. I'd say even more. Mother instead. What does that even mean? Next. Alright, this one is called Pankration competition in effect, I guess.
Το Pankration θεωρεί...
Nice transition. Even she couldn't help but laugh.
Το Παγκράτιο θεωρείται η μητέρα των πολεμικών τεχνών. Μια τέχνη που επί αιώνες ήταν ξεχασμένη και είναι...
Damn, more cuts than a samurai movie. We got Scorsese over here directing this video.
Αυθεντικά ελληνικό άθλημα. Είστε ένας από τους 6 που αναβιώσαν το 1996 το Παγκράτιο.
Η Ομοσπονδία ιδρύθηκε το 1996.
1996. Like almost 100 years after Norman Gardiner wrote an entire section of his book on the subject. So, lightning fast speed. Oh damn, it's the mustache guy. So you see, if he had spent half the time working on Pankration as he did on his mustache, I wouldn't have to have made this channel.
Ήταν ξεχασμένο, πρώτο εμφανίστηκε το 648 π.Χ.
It did not magically appear in 648 BCE, that's when it was introduced in the Olympics. The graphic here says that the first mention of Pankration is in the 8th century BCE, which is blatantly false. First mention is Xenophanes in the 6th to 5th century BCE, so only off by about 200-300 years.
Τους αρχαίους χρόνους ήταν ένα άθλημα που παίζανε μέχρι τελικής πτώσεως και πολλοί αθλητές φτάνανε μέχρι και στο θάνατο.
Okay, she just asked him if it's true that they fought to the death and whether or not many athletes died. This is the moment, mustache man. Don't say the stupid. Make me proud.
Ήταν ένα άθλημα το οποίο ήταν οπωσδήποτε πάρα πολύ σημαντικό. Το πιο ενδιαφέρον στους Ολυμπιακούς Αγώνες. Δεν υπήρχαν θάνατοι, καταγεγραμμένος είναι μόνο ένας θάνατος από την παλιά εποχή. Σήμερα το Παγκράτιο είναι ένα απόλυτα ασφαλές άθλημα και εξασκείται σε πάρα πολλά σωματεία στην Ελλάδα.
Well, he didn't really answer the question. He gave more of a politician's response, mostly because he didn't want people to think that it's dangerous and they don't visit the dojos. But at least there was nothing factually incorrect on what he said.
Είναι η μητέρα όλων των πολεμικών τεχνών.
Είναι η μητέρα των πολεμικών τεχνών.
Το παραδέχονται και οι Ιάπωνες δηλαδή.
Το παραδέχονται όλοι οι ανατολικοί λαοί. Ιστορικά αποδεδειγμένο αυτό.
Okay, this video looks old. Maybe they didn't have internet back then. Because there is absolutely nothing everyone agrees upon, especially not when it comes to martial arts.
Ο Μέγα Αλέξανδρος το διέδωσε.
Το διέδωσε ο Μέγας Αλέξανδρος και μετά ήρθε σε εμάς και εμείς το προχωρήσαμε, το προχωράμε και συνέχεια εξελισσόμεθα με σεμινάρια.
You've evolved or advanced nothing, other than public funds in your pocket, of course.
Προσπαθούμε να το κάνουμε ολυμπιακό το άθλημα. Η Ομοσπονδία προσπαθεί να το κάνει ολυμπιακό.
Πολλά χρόνια, πολλή προσπάθεια.
Oh yeah, they've tried so hard. Yeah. That's why all you can find online about Pankration is unfactual nonsense and bootleg DVD videos.
Βλέπεις ένα λαμπρό μέλλον να διαγράφεται.
Πολύ, πολύ λαμπρό μέλλον.
She asked, do you see a bright future for Pankration? And she says, yeah, very, very bright. They've done absolutely nothing after almost 30 years of receiving public funds. Oh God, please don't do this. I mean, first-hand and second-hand embarrassment through the roof. So yeah, if someone attacks you with a staff, just toss it. What are you, stupid?
Δεν ήμουν ποτέ αθλητής, δεν πρόλαβα να είμαι αθλητής στο Παγκράτιο. Ήμουν αθλητής σε άλλες μαχητικές τέχνες, όπως το Okinawa Karate παλιά.
He did Okinawan Karate. Can you see the influence? Yeah, I can't either.
Το μειονέκτημα είναι η προβολή του. Είναι δύσκολο να μπορέσουμε να το προβάλλουμε μέσα από μέσα μαζικής ενημέρωσης.
Indeed, it is difficult when you spend the public funds on God knows what. Okay, I made this channel. I published academic articles and I am writing an academic book on the subject in 5 years while working a 9-to-5, alone with nothing but a passion for the sport and a $1,200 6-year-old computer. You have absolutely no excuse. This video was made in 2015. 9 years have passed. What have they done? Nothing but spread misinformation. What a shame. Alright, I'd hate to live on a sad note like this, so let's do one last video. This is called Parmenion Pankration. Let's check it out. Damn it, this is too funny to make fun of. Kick the dude like you would your younger brother for stealing your cookie. Pressure points. Professional wrestling. Nice. Slap him in the nuts. Damn, this guy thinks he's Zeus. Pankratis, not even a Pankratiast. 6th degree in Pankration because Pankration has dance, I guess. Also, Shotokan, kickboxing, and Jujutsu. All I have to say is, Hey, cheers everyone. Support me on Patreon or share this content so I can get the academic book written and dispel this nonsense once and for all, will ya? I've got a lot of work ahead of me, so every bit helps. I can't stress that enough. Catch you in the next video.